Assalamu alaikum. This is chapter 3 of learning Node.js quickly. Today we'll learn HTTP requests and connect with PostgreSQL database. And for our HTTP request, we will use GitHub's user API. To show you how this works, how we can hit this API, let's open Postman and let's copy this URL. And in Postman, if you paste it, we get this result. Now we want this result, we want this HTTP request to occur in our own application, in our Node.js application. So let's do that. We shall need a package called Axios. Axios is used to make HTTP requests. Let's require it. Let's just do this. We need to make a function first, an async function to hold our Axios requests. Let's call this function request, and then we hold the result in Axios. This is a promise. This returns a promise, and we need to grab promise in a try catch block. So let's do that in case there are any errors. And now let's call this function. Alright, now if I run our application, it should make a request to API, GitHub's API, and return the result. Oops. Yep, so here it is. Now what if I only want to show just a few of the fields, like I only want login, ID, and I want let's just say public repos, public gists, followers, and following. I could do let's create an object. Let's just say the name is data dot, what was it, login, and ID is data dot ID. And what else did we want? We wanted public repos. And we wanted public gists. And we wanted followers. And we can just show this object, print this object now. I say this, and here we go, we got this. Now what if I want to store this data in database? We are going to use PostgreSQL, and you should be able to download it. There are quite many articles on how to download it. There's one for Mac. You can follow this one from their own Postgres website. Once you've downloaded Postgres, you must be able to do this to verify if it's been downloaded. Here we go. After you've downloaded, let's create a database. You'll do sign in, and here we are going to create a database. Let's call it Node.js. Alright, our database has been created, and now let's connect to it. Let's see, there are no relations. Well, obviously we shall write a migration file for it. Let's do that. But first we need to download some packages to connect with Postgres. Let's install pg and pgpool. Now we must create a secret to connect to our database. It's a URI actually. What we're going to do is we are going to create an environment file. We'll put our secret here. Oops. Yeah, I just need to confirm the URL for it. No, I guess I'm doing it. What was the name of our database? It was Node. Let's see if this it does work. Yeah, okay, so this is the URL to connect to the database. There is another package we need to read our secret, and it's called .env. Now we must create a folder for our database, configurations and migrations. Let's call it this, and let's create an index file. This is where we connect to our database, and let's just import .env. And this is the code for configuring our database. Let's see if I can show it all to you. Yep, this is the whole file. Actually, yeah, you also need to export the DB. I guess you didn't see here. All right, I'll just attach the GitHub for it, and you can just use that. Anyways, all right, now we need to write a migration file, and we are going to write it inside here. Let's just call it user1, and let's just call it create git table .sql. creating a transaction for migration files is a good practice. Okay, so what data did we actually need? We needed name, ID, public repos, public list, and followers. So let's do this. This is called get. All right, ID, and it is type integer, and it must not be null. Then we have name, it is type text, should also not be null. And then ID name, public repos. Public repos are integer. They can be null. Public gists also integer, can be null. And followers. To run this migration, we need to go in our database and here write this. Where are we? We are on desktop. Yeah, okay. Let's go to Node.js and let's write that here. There's another way you can connect your database. What was the name? I forget the name again. All right. Now we need to write this database and there's one. And now let's see if it's here. Yep, the name git table here, and let's see what is inside, what it looks like, and there's nothing in here, obviously. 0 rows. Okay, now we have our table. Now I want this data to be stored in my database, so I am going to first require that database. Again, we give it a relative path, and we do not need to write index.js this here, because when there is an index.js file in any folder, it's the default file that is fetched when you require the folder. So let's ID name, public repos, public gists, ID name, public gists, and followers. These are parameters. How many are there? 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are query parameters. They help in avoiding SQL injections. And now we can do and followers. Alright, we do not need this object now, so let's just get rid of it. Alright. let's just console a message so that we know that it's printed. Now this time console.log will appear after this has run. Now this does return a promise, but in our previous video I think I showed you only the chain promises. But when you put await, it actually makes the thread wait until this promise has executed. So this will execute first and then this will print. So that would mean that our insertion has been successful if this prints, or else we're going to get here if there's some sort of error. Yeah, let's test it now. Yep, there's an error. Let's see what the error is. The URL administrator of a string. Received undefined. Yeah, the error is here actually. And we have this. Yeah, there's a problem with the name. All right, our application crashed. Let's run it again. And now it says inserted in DB. Let's check if there's anything here. Yep, there we go. ID, name, public repos, public.js, and followers. That's great. Well, this is it for today. Today we learned about HTTP requests and connecting to Postgres database. I'll see you in the next chapter where we will create our own API, a RESTful API. Until then, adios.